Welcome back. Wow. What a crazy morning. Every so often I come up with an idea and then the universe says, yeah, be careful. Be careful what you wish for. Before we begin, cheers. I'm Abby Hagyard. How are you? Ah, I may need to do that again. All righty then. That's completely confabulated here. All right. I'm going to tell you in a minute why I'm so excited. I I have a good morning, Maggie. I was just about to talk about you. I was saying to everybody that I have an exciting new client scenario situation, and for those of you who don't know, other than that whole mom thing, raising millions and millions of children all over the world to think like me, there's a thought. There's a moment right there. We should all pause and consider that. Aside from raising millions of kids to walk softly and hope that someone behind you is carrying a big stick. One of the things that I got involved in for many years actually was coaching people to find a better path. Coaching people who were saying, it's so close, really, but not quite there. And I would walk them through it. And the reason I had any qualifications whatsoever was because of my childhood. I was a military kid, and every 15 minutes you have to reset your expectations and rethink your strategies, because what works in France may not work in Miami. You know what I'm saying? And what works in Germany, in the Black Forest in Germany, may not exactly work in Northern Canada. And so every single thing that you thought was great. Imagine Tarzan, just as a random thing. Imagine Tarzan goes to sleep and wakes up in the morning, and there has been a weather anomaly, and there are no trees. There are no trees. Now what does he do? Fine then, he says to himself. I'm sorry. Clearingly, I need to think of something else. And that's the point. Every time we turn around, there's something, some essential element that is just enough to shift what we were thinking and help us kind of blink, pause, and examine our options, examine our possibilities, examine the paths that we didn't see a minute ago, just before we turned the corner back there. We took a couple of steps down the path and everything seemed to be familiar. And then we just kind of went around that corner and, oh, it's a whole new world. And we have unlimited options. And it can really blindside you. It can really make you think, I think I want to go back to that nice little, cage cave thing that I was in. And it's too late. Once you're out, there you are. You're in the world. And you're saying to yourself, oh, well, this feels great. I just don't know what to do with it. And that's where I have come in. I've come in with strategies. I call them now what strategies, right? Now what? And the idea is just what you thought was going to happen didn't. Oh, and so all the plans, useless. I see. So I created this whole reset, reconnect, refocus kind of skill set. And a long time in the making, many books on the interweb now. It has a name, and it's called Pivotry in Motion. A pivot is a hard turn, but you can't make that turn until you make up your mind. And the making up your mind, the deciding how you need to lean into this, not just that you need to lean into it, but how to derive the best outcome. That's the art form. That's Pivotry. And it uses a remarkable skill that we're all born with and nobody knows they have, except people like me. And so what I do is I help people navigate those uncharted, uncertain waters. When they get to the other side and they say, oh, okay, the weather looks fine from here. And then they carry on. So I've been doing that since the very beginning, since the first job because immediately after the first job, somebody said, "Can you show me how you do that?" And I said, "Yes, yes, I can." And so here we are on the 18th, which means that we are a week away from a very big holiday for many of us. For some of us, it mostly has commercial connotations. For the rest of us, it's very family-oriented, very friends-oriented. And for others, it has an entire cultural definition. Whatever it's called, it is a time when we want to show to ourselves and each other the meaning of thanks. It's not the same as Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is looking at a year of effort, planting in the spring, harvesting in the fall, maintaining and moderating and elevating and fertilizing all through the summer. And then typically it is a time in the winter to rest and recharge and reset. In some cultures, in many cultures, there is a time at the end of the calendar year in which we stop and say, that was a milestone. That was a year. There were good things and there were bad. And every single one of them was a lesson. Every single one of them was a gift. Every single one of them was an aha. Because we learned something we didn't know we knew, that we had, that we could, that we would. And at this time of year, we all try too hard. Everywhere you go, people are trying so hard to make it the best one ever. And that is where the small flaw lies in the whole process. You know, many years ago, I wrote a book called Fame, the Collector's Edition. I interviewed a whole bunch of my kids from You Can't Get on Television, and my Care Bears family, and a lot of really great people in the industry. And in every one of their chapters, with lots of pictures, and by the way, this isn't a commercial, but it is available on Amazon, Fame, the Collector's Edition, Abby Hagyard. What I asked every single one of them was, what's your personal definition of fame? And the curious thing was that I had 25 people I featured in the book, and I got 25 different answers, completely different answers. Not just a word here or there, a completely different perspective. And I realized a couple of things in that moment when I kept looking at them and thinking, that's very interesting. It speaks to the reason that nobody knows how fame works. When you think of it, it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry, and there's no guarantees. People try to finesse the system all they want. It's like, you know, trying to lame all the other horses in a horse race, and it doesn't matter. It is not ever what you think it's going to be, no matter how sure you might have been, because fame, the definition and the addictive nature of it and the of it is driven exclusively by the fans. And they don't all get together, all multi-trillions of them, and say, this is what we're going to do this year. It's a random thing. It's like herding fireflies. They all blink. They just don't all blink in sequence or even remotely at the same time. And so there's no real way to know. It's magic how it happens. And so is this time of year. If we allow it, if we stop trying to push it, stop trying to make it the best ever, if we just simply are. And this speaks to Pivotry in motion. This speaks to our innate ability to rise and lean in. Everybody talks these days about vibration and frequency, and how you, in order to achieve what you want, you have to raise this, you have to do this, you have to do that to qualify. It's not how it works. They're guessing, and they're trying to make money on the guessing. But when you listen to them for a couple of minutes, you say, oh, they're there. See, if you picture a balloon filled with helium, and you picture, you know, these kids' birthday parties, and they get the little balloons, right? And they fill them with helium, and they attach ribbons to the balloons, and they tie them to a sparkly weight, and that's the centerpiece on the table. And there's candy, and there's all kinds of stuff. Yeah, you know where the balloons stay down stay down instead of up where they want to be, it's not because they're not trying hard enough. The balloons are perfectly capable of being up there. The reason they're not up there is that some external force has tethered them to a weight that isn't theirs to own. It's not their weight. Something, someone, some trend, some outcome tethered them to a weight. You know what happens if you take a pair of safety scissors and snip the ribbon? Ta-da! The balloons filled with helium go where they've always been meant to be, at the absolute top of their possibilities. And if there was no ceiling, they'd keep going. Because they, as we, are our best self. They, as we, are our highest frequency. We're never not. What weighs us down, what distracts us, what holds us hostage, is a decision we make to attach ourselves to something that was never ours to own, never ours to fix. We just wanted so much to do something nice for someone else. What we forgot was wanting pushes it away. Want means lack. The universe says, oh, all right, then you lack. All right. Then like the wet spot on the highway, it will always be just ahead of you, just ahead of you. No matter how much you want. How does it work then? What is all this hard work doing? A lot of it is spinning wheels, actually, spinning tires in the mud. What does work is calm and certainty and quiet thought. So this year has been a series of milestone anniversaries for me. It has been a year of firsts, and it has been tumultuous and up and down and sideways and complicated. And every one of those moments has been a lesson. And as I've seen them unfold and said, ow, that hurts, I've realized that there's something good on the other side of it, because that's how it works, right? So I wanted to talk today about this whole business of gifting this time of year, this particular season. How we all rush madly around to find that perfect thing for that perfect someone. How we all rush madly around trying to find anything for the person you simply can't buy anything for or gift anything to. And I said to myself, as I do every year, the most valuable gift anyone can give is their presence. It's precious. It's time sensitive. It's now. And that's my wish for us, for me, for all of us this year, that we make the decision. Sure, bring the trinket, bring the ridiculously extravagant or the humbly small. The true gift, the real gift this year is to be present, be here, fully connected, engaged, curious. Now, and then in the next moment, do it again. And in the next moment after that, do it again. And when you show up for the gatherings, stop with each one you greet. Look them in the eyes for that extra long minute. Smile. Maybe hold them by the shoulders. Create the touch. Allow it to last longer than 15 seconds. Allow the energy to transform. And whatever it is that you normally say, add these words. I'm here. I'm present 100% now. And hug them and let them know. Because this is what we're all missing. This is what is missing today. We are not looking at each other. We are not seeing each other. We are not listening to each other. We're not hearing what is between and behind and underneath the words. We have allowed ourselves to think that these other small things are important. And sometimes they are. You know, hitting the brake when somebody accidentally walks out in front of your car is a good idea. It's a good idea to be present now and know that you can do that. Yes. And then when you park the car and you get out and you hug your loved ones, or you get out of the car at the intersection, you hug the person you didn't run down. We only have this moment, one moment. We're going to have another one in a minute, fingers and toes crossed. So we can, when we allow it, we can celebrate this one. We can say, I'm taking these 15 minutes, these 20 minutes, these 30 minutes today for me, selfishly, purposefully. Today I'm going to listen closer to what Abby has to say. This is my 420th video, not counting the others and the special ones and the other little things that I did in the beginning. I began this in 2022. Can you imagine? I began this as a promise to me and to you that I was back and that I would prove it by showing up, no matter what. Sometimes it was a little late, sometimes it was another day, but I made the commitment so that you could see that that Abby, the creator of Mom, the creator of the 3 original Care Bears, is still here, still alive and well, still walking around like she means it. So that you could say, it's nice to know that some things don't change. Somebody said to me, you never change. And I said, well, why would I? Why would I? I know where everything is. Why do I need to make it different? Why do I need to make it hard on myself? And they said, well, never mind. So this holiday season, the story I want to tell about being here now is a twofold story. The guy who showed up late to take me to dinner, why I said yes, we will never know, except that it now makes a great story. He was not only 20 minutes late, he was wearing a dirty t-shirt. And he put up his hand and he said, I know. And I will make it up to us. Let us just focus on the fact that I'm here now, okay? I'm here now. I made it. We're here. We're good? Technically, we're good? And I said, yeah. And he said, all right, what I'm going to do so I don't embarrass us, I'm going to put my t-shirt on backwards because the back is clean. And I said, alrighty then. And he did. And we went to dinner. And at dinner, he told me, you know, the calamity that had befallen him and what he'd had to do. But what he said in walking in with his hand up, and he said, I know. The thing is, I'm here now. And I want to do this. And then he turned his t-shirt around. He performed his Pivotry in motion for me. And then we went to dinner. Now, that's not the ideal date. Or is it? Is that the ideal date? Or is that the date who shows up flawless and really spends no time finding out who I am, who we are, who we might be? Because it's all about him, and this is his good side, and this is his other good side. And aren't you lucky? Which is the better date? I'm going to leave that to you. And now I want to talk about a strategy. With each and every one of my clients. Good morning, Charles. Good morning. It is a wonderful day. My holiday gift wish is for my honey to get better and for, yes. That is my gift wish for you too, Charles. That you and Kat are well and happy and together. That's my wish for you. Not fattening, causes no cavities, increases the quality of the smiles. It's a lovely thought. So my strategy in this is something that I gift to all of my clients at some point in time. And I say there's 3 time zones in everything. And the opportunity is to make sure we are aware of the zone we are in. Just to make sure, just to do a gut check. And these are never wrong. These are always valid, okay? And the three time zones are now, next, and whenever. And the reason I use the word whenever is for the ADHD in us who wants to know what comes after next because I need to make a list. There's no list. There are 3 options, 3 columns, now, next, whenever. And we don't need to worry about all the things that we could take the time to put in whenever, because that is a stalling tactic that causes us to bypass now and look longingly at next. The story that I have was a fan convention, my first fan convention, and I had decided to launch the first foray into the Pivotry series, and I called it 15 Minutes with Abby. And the opportunity was for people in a panel scenario. These Comic Cons, they have panels, and the audience can ask you all kinds of questions about your work and your life and so on. And I had said, I'm going to turn the tables. I'm going to give people, we have time to do 4 of them because I had an hour. And I said, it's 15 minutes with Abby. And you can ask me anything you want. You don't need to ask me ahead of time. Anything about your life. And I will give you my best suggestions for your happiest outcome. And the first question actually quite surprised me, blindsided me. And it was a moment. And this chap stood up and introduced himself and said he was from Montreal, Canada, and everybody cheered. And he said, Abby, I had a recent doctor's visit that wasn't very good. And at the end of the visit, my doctor said it might not be a bad idea to start working on your bucket list. And everybody in the audience was horrified and sending hugs and making heart shapes and we're with you and all. And I said, oh my goodness. And I said, what an honor that you're sharing this with us. Thank you. And he said, I'd like your advice on how to do that, how to look at my bucket list. And I was really flummoxed, for a second or two, because I had said, ask me anything and I'll answer you live. The universe said, alrighty then, here you go. And I said, here's the thing about lists. Sometimes we get caught up in the listing and we forget about the purpose of the list. If the purpose of the list is to prioritize, then I think what we all should get in the habit of doing is focusing on the first bucket. And once we have the first bucket clearly defined, then we move on to the next. So tell me, if you were just allowed to have one bucket because, the rest of the buckets were back ordered, what would that be? What would your primary thing be? And he said, I would ride all the roller coasters in the world. And I said, really? And he said, yes. And the woman sitting beside him who was smiling, and I said, are you with him? And she said, every day, all the time. And I said, and do you do this roller coaster thing? And she said, oh yes. And I said, are you a roller coaster fan? And she said, no, I'm his fan. And everybody applauded. And I said, well, then I think you have your answer. Roller coasters, here he comes. Sorry, correction, here they come. And everybody had a moment. Everybody had that ah and ah and aha, right? They had a triple play because they realized that now is the only thing that we deserve to focus on. Now is where we belong. Now is what matters. What matters to Charles and Cox is that they have each other. His wish for the holiday is that it keeps on keeping on. And how that happens is in every now moment, they reinforce it on purpose, deliberately, choosing again and again. I choose this, I choose thee, I choose we. That's what this is. So that is my wish for this Christmas. Just be here now. That's it. Bring stuff if you like. Don't everybody bring tuna fish salad or cowbells. Maybe somebody might make that "what are you bringing" list. I don't know. Except no, that's wrong. I'm wrong. Just bring yourself. Just bring you. And we'll worry about the rest later. So how do we do that? That list. Now. Next. Whenever. Look at the now. What time is it now? How do you feel now? If you have two choices, which one? Now. Make the choice. You'll do the other one next. The reason I make that list, the reason I do that, is that as a military kid, I never knew how long we would be anywhere. I used to joke when I tried stand-up comedy, I would say I struggle to tell the difference between forever and 4:30. All around me, people seem to think they have forever. They're so surprised when they don't. They're so surprised when all of a sudden the train is leaving at 4:30. They thought they had all this other time. I don't risk it. I lean in now. I see this, I do this now. I give my best 110% now. Because the transfer orders could come in anytime, whenever. And then we're on our way. So this is a short one today. We all have a lot of stuff to take care of. Places to go, people to hug, things to do. Please, for us, for me and thee, don't forget. Don't forget. Now is the ultimate gift. It's astonishing. We made it. We're here together now. For this holiday season, be present. It's your presence, not your gifts. It is your presence, your person standing here, being with, leaning in, laughing, hugging, railing against the winds. That's the gift. How do we get there? Focus on now. Don't worry about happily ever after. That's a whenever. Focus on now. And if you're not happy now, change your shoes. Loosen your belt. Lean in for you. The ripple effects are magical. Okay, you know the drill. Be good to you. You deserve it. Remember to hug your loved ones. Every day. Even on the phone, in a FaceTime, in a text. Hug you, love you. These are the gifts. I want to thank everybody who is watching and telling their friends. I want to thank, my gosh, the people on LinkedIn, they're crazy and you're wonderful. And the YouTubers and the Instagrammers and the Twitch people, and most of all, my Facebook family. Thank you for doing this with me. Thank you for saying, here, she's coming round again. Everybody ready? Got to jump aboard. Row, damn it, row. And I will see you next week. Be safe out there. The weather's a bit weird. Some of the people are too. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.